Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast for the OSRL series at COTA. I'm your host, Insane Leader 13, and today we're about to get underway for our fourth race of the season, as your title fight is now seriously beginning to take shape. After two oval races and one road course, we now are prepared to come to the only, as of this date, only current Grade 1 road course, FIA Grade 1 road course in North America, in the United States. Here in Texas, this is the Circuit of the Americas. Construction was finished here in the early 2010s, and it's been a staple of the Formula One calendar since. Real quickly though, before we get into the race itself, I do want to go ahead and talk about the championship standings as they are right now. When it comes to the points, after last week's race, from the bottom to the top, this is what it looks like. 27th in points is Uf Serena with 10. 26th is Deed Sweden with 20 points. 25th is Aidman 2005 with 40. 24th is Tyler Barry with 41. 23rd is Larry B. the G with 55 points. 22nd is TMS Bumdrop with 64. 21st is Uber Nuss with 75. 20th is TFB Matter with 75. 19th is FCT Racing with 76 points. 18th is Prius Killer with 91. 17th is Down Prime 77 with 104 points. 16th is OTR Popping with 110 points. 15th is Bryant with 111. 14th is Rockmar with 118. 13th is Coco Gamer 11 with 136. 12th is Raygun vs. Zombie with 140. 11th is TJ with 150. 10th is Apex Blade 87 with 158. 9th is Aero Cobra with 178 points. 8th is Tactical Fallout with 179 points. 7th is SRD Shredder, your winner of the 3/5 with 209. Then 6th is SSR U5 AVMP, winner at Miami with 212. 5th is OTR Anonymous with 220. 4th is TMS Steamway with 223 points. 3rd is Xebot 360 with 247. 2nd is Lucas B with 263. And leading the points is last week's winner, TMS Derp. He has 294 points, so he has opened up a 31-point gap right now over the rest of the field at this point. So now we just stand by until we get into the race itself. Now we're prepared to get underway for the race itself. 14 drivers for today's race, so now we start seeing the part-time effect running away. There are a lot of drivers in this series who have signed up, but a lot of them are only part-time. So now we're seeing closer to what the core drivers of the grid are going to be running. Also, for those of you who celebrate, happy Easter. For those of you who celebrate on the more Jewish occasions, happy Feast of Unleavened Bread. Yes, I know it's not a multi-day Passover feast. This is actually unleavened bread, which comes right after Passover. So I do want to wish you all a good day for that, and I hope you're enjoying that time. Real quickly, just trying to get everything loaded up here. Time intervals. Take down the map for the moment. Alright, so from last place to first, starting dead last is SRD Shredder, one of your defending series champion and potential title winner, title contender. Was not able to get a clean lap in, so he'll be starting dead last. Back there with him will be TMS Bumdrop in the number 55 Puma Chevrolet. 12th starting will be Raygun vs. Zombie, as he is going to be running once more in that number 5 HendrickCars.com machine. He'll be starting there alongside TJ111 in that number 78 Home Depot Chevrolet. Ahead of him in row 5 will be Apex Blade 87. He is in that number 87 Monster Energy machine. 9th ahead of him will be TFB Matter, as he is going to be running today in that, well, as we wait to get a better view of him, as he will be running today in that number 19 Toyota. Then ahead of him in row 4 will be CK the Flying Sauce. CK said no practice for this race, so he's not really looking forward to it that much. He's in that number 4 Ford. 7th is Coco Gamer 11. Coca in that number 7 Mobile Mini. He's trying to make as many points up now before real life racing schedule takes him away from this. SSR, once again, that number 54 Interstate Batteries Toyota. Ahead of him, well, alongside of him, more accurately, Prius Killing number 76 King of the Hill Unical Toyota. So keep an eye on him today. Will definitely be interesting to watch. Oh, I'm sorry, Chevy, not Toyota. 4th place in the starting grid today will be the number 20 Gallagher. Or, sorry, not Gallagher, Granger Chevrolet. A little bit of a sponsorship change for Lucas Speed, normally runs Home Depot. 3rd place on the grid today will be TMS Derp, last week's winner. He'll be in that number 33 Oreo Chevrolet. And on the front row, TMS Stingray will have the outside line. He will be in that number 1 Goodyear Ford. And the leader coming to the green flag today will be the number 88 Mountain Dew Ford Fusion, driven by Xebot 360, and that's it. Only 14 drivers starting today's race, so it will be a relatively light field. We're anticipating not very many, if any, yellow flags. We think the field's going to get spread out real quickly, and will just be a matter of drivers either racing to stage ends or racing to the end of the event itself. Real quickly, as I pull up the information, I'm going to try and get you the exact information regarding when we are anticipating going green. Well, we're going green this lap. Here we are. Stage 1 ends at lap 13. Stage 2 ends on lap 25. And then the end of the race is on, obviously, lap 43. So this can get very interesting because it's not known if a fuel tank can get you throughout a full race yet. For whatever reason, Dino is not racing today. I did not realize that. Anyways, coming out of the final corner, 7 rows of cars. Xebot's lead in them all as we take the green flag here at Circuit of the Americas. Immediately, it fans out 3 and 4 wide going into the braking zone. Xebot gets tapped from behind from TMS Derp, runs way wide. Coco Gamer's around the middle of the field as well. Several instances coming to the green flag. What a mess. And now at the front of the field is this man here, Prius Killer. Taking advantage of all the cars to move right up to the front. TMS Stingray throws it up the inside, trying to get alongside. But for the moment, Prius has the position, and now he's dumped. Out of the lead, Prius Killer is dumped in the S's. And now it goes to TMS Stingray. So TMS Stingray in that Goodyear Ford now takes the lead. That Oreo Chevrolet of TMS Dirt behind, trying to keep up, but that's TFB Matter in 3rd. He wants a spot at the 2nd position. Red Bull versus Oreos. There's so much sugar in that fight for 2nd that will probably give you a heart attack within 3 seconds. But Matter seems to be struggling to keep up down the straight. Raygun versus Zombie has taken advantage of all the chaos and moved right up into 4th position. And now under braking, Raygun sucks right up to the rear end of Matter's car. And it looks like that 19 cannot keep up. Apex Blade is back there in 5th right now. And TMS Derp is not closing at all on your current leader. Apex Blade and TJ and Xeba are all fighting for positions here. 3 wide as they go through turn 15. It looks like it's going to be SSR U5 who ends up taking point. He'll move up into the 5th spot now. Apex Blade fighting with Xebot. TJ is in 6th. CK is there in 9th. Ready to fight. Now he goes around the outside of Apex Blade. You can run as far out as you want through 19 in this series. The rules in this league, the outside of any corner is legal as long as it's paved and not in the S's. And everyone's going to get really aggressive with that, I imagine, as we get a little farther into the race. You can see Xeba is closing on this fight between TJ and SSR as they go through that turn 1 uphill corner. TJ gets knocked a little sideways by Xebot. Xebot already has recovered up to 7th, but the leaders are walking away as he is stuck fighting, or stuck behind this fight between SSR and TJ. Into the S's once more. TJ, SSR contact. Both run off circuit a bit. Get compromised 4 wide in the S's. And Xebot goes ahead. Apex Blades trying to make his way through. SSR knocks TJ sideways. Xebot's up to 5th. SSR crosses over on TJ. Now he pulls alongside Xebot for a brief moment. Uphill through the S's again. TJ, Apex Blade still side by side, but TJ slides out and Apex Blade moves up now. 9th place now goes to TJ. 3 and nearly 4 wide. Shredder is stuck. Ludicrous Speed has fallen to the back. It looks like qualifying meant absolutely nothing because the entire grid order has been seemingly randomized. Apex Blade leading the small group. TJ is right behind him. And on the outside, that's Shredder. Now Apex Blade trying to get a draft off of him as they jump down into the braking zone now. Hard on the brakes. CK the Flying Scot gets closed in on, but really the fight is for 7th and 8th. TJ, Apex Blade trying to make it work. Shredder is there trying to move up the grid, but having no luck whatsoever. Neither is Coco Gamer, neither is Ludicrous Speed, neither is Priest Killer. And now it seems like we are in a race where being a veteran actually hurts. All these drivers back here are all veterans of the series. No veteran is doing very well on the racetrack right now. Coco Gamer has taken 9th from Shredder for the moment. TJ and Coco making way wider lines coming out of 19. As long as your car's not in the grass, it's fine. It's legal. You can go as far as you want coming out of 19 there. But now it seems like this battle has simmered down a bit into a single file fight. Priest Killer is there behind TMS Bumdrop for the 12th position. Will he make the move? The answer... he will on exit, but gets Bumdrop sideways and has to give up position for the moment. At the front, it is TMS Stingray in that Goodyear machine, but TMS Derp is now behind, fighting him. TFB Matter hanging out in 3rd, but he has totally lost pace with the front 2 at the moment. Raygun versus Zombie is there in 4th. Xebot has already rebounded to 5th, and is now beginning to put pressure on Raygun and Matter. Raygun runs really wide into the dirt that time. Xebot will be happy with that. This means he can close right in. But the fight for the lead is alive. Derp is there behind Stingray. He'll have the draft going down the straight here. As we look at the fuel numbers, already they've gone through about 1/5 of the tank after only about 2.5 laps of racing. Well, a little bit more than that technically because they did have the pace lap. And with the end of the first stage being on lap 13, it is very likely that unless we have some yellows, everyone's going to have to pit at roughly the same time, and you won't really get a good chance to do a pit road pitting shenanigans to sneak into a stage victory here. Derp's fallen off just a bit, but Xebot has already gotten by Raygun, unsurprisingly, and now he is setting his sights on Matter. Tires already coming and dealing with a lot of wear right now. 17% all around for Xebot at the moment. $75% at the line, so these drivers have already used about 1/4 of their tank of fuel at the end of roughly 4.5 laps of racing. With that in mind, it would be close. Well, not really that close. You should be able to make it to the end of the stage on fuel, I guess. Xebot closes right in on Matter in the S's. Matter trying to defend a bit. Again, for a long time in this series, the S's have not been considered a place for overtaking unless the driver ahead makes a mistake. That's a mistake. Xebot ends up going through the dirt. That brings Raygun and SSR Rep to the fight, but Xebot puts the power down without issue and is already pulled away. So that fight's over. SSR has gotten by Raygun, and now it's his time to fight against Matter. Raygun is there. He does have the draft in this fight, but he's not close enough to do anything unless these two get into it in the braking zone. And as you see the brakes heat up, SSR goes to the inside of Matter. Matter tries to punch him down as much as he can, not able to get it done. Number 19 sliding in front of the 18 with the 5 behind. A little bit of contact 54 right behind the 19. A pair of Toyotas fighting it out for 4th right now. Matter taking a way more aggressive line out of 19. Uses it to open the gap just a bit, but misses the apex of 20. But to counter that, SSR hit the apex almost too well and shot wide. Lost a bit of momentum running over the curbs. Stage points up for grabs at the end of 13, so we're not quite halfway to the end of this stage. Again, that Interstate Batteries Toyota seems to be way better hooked up in the S's than Matter's Toyota, the Red Bull Toyota. Raygun just cannot seem to keep pace with either of them right now. Missing the apex of almost every corner is that 5 car. But Matter's playing up a better defense against SSR than he was able to against Xebot. Matter, not a veteran of this league, well, not a veteran of this series, but he is a driver who ran the last 2 seasons in the support series, the Busch series, also at one point known as the Xfinity, but now currently known as the Busch series. He was one of the drivers to graduate from that up into the Cup level. And he is running higher than anyone else, the highest veteran, the highest driver who's run in the series before, Raygun versus Zombie. He is running 6th at the moment. So this is really a really good show for Matter at the moment, without a doubt. Question, of course, how long can he keep it like this? Lucas Speed, TJ, and SRD Shredder in 12th, 13th, and 14th have already made their first stops of the day, so they are likely trying to game for track position or good stage points as this race goes on. They're also likely trying to just get away from everyone else, not have their lap times compromised racing with other drivers on the racetrack. Matter and SSR are really not letting Xebot pull away too far. Yes, Xebot is walking on them, but not by a massive pace. Raygun is now pitting out 6th. So about halfway through the first stage of the race, and now Raygun has elected to make a stop out of the top 6 positions. So this promotes CK the Flying Scott, Mr. What's Practice, up into 6th position, and Coca Gamer now up into 7th. So Coca now is the highest running of all the veterans in the league. But at the front is still 2 TMS drivers, TMS Stingray, TMS Derp. As we look at their telemetry, a little bit more than half the fuel left in their tank. After 6 laps of racing, that's good. That means that they should be able to make it to the end of this stage on this tank of fuel. Stingray has set the fastest lap of the day as well, and is keeping the gap nice and steady over his teammate Derp and 3rd place Xebot. SSR has actually fallen off of Matter just a bit, so the fight now has turned into a fight for 5th and 6th as CK, this Flying Scott, is now trying to close in on that number 54. Coca Gamer also trying to close in, trying to recover from getting crashed in the first corner, first lap, one of 2 drivers to do so. Not a whole lot of active battles occurring on the track at this point. Prius Killer in 9th, trying to close in on Apex Blade ahead. Two of them taking radically alternate lines throughout the S's. Prius actually closing in on the 87. Nice exit for Prius, lets him pull alongside, coming out of the S's. And the 76 now jumps ahead of the 87 into the hairpin. Ludacris has also gotten by Raygun for the 11th position on the track. And Stingray has just set the fastest lap of the day, but Derp has actually closed in a bit as well. So I have to wonder if maybe Derp has capitalized on Stingray burning the tires up too much. Apex Blade coming back on to the inside under braking here. Takes the position back, but we know Prius has the speed now to at least fight with him through the S's. Fighting up ahead, that's Coco Gamer and CK the Flying Scot fighting for 6th and 7th position. So Coco now moves by CK, and he'll start to set his sights on SSR. And SSR has pretty much fallen off of Matter. He continues to stalk him, but he's not in a position to actively fight him. Coco taking a really aggressive line coming out of 19 that time around. And now Coco runs into the dirt, and that will let CK get a chance to maybe fight back if he was close enough. Sad thing is for CK, he is not close enough to do anything. Xebot's now actually closing in the gap a bit on the top two. And SSR misses the apex completely for turn 1. And that lets Coco Gamer close in a bit. TJ now goes by Shredder. Shredder stated earlier before this race started this was one of his worst tracks. He was really not looking forward to running here. And his performance today really highlights that. They're right on board with Coco Gamer. Ooh, Matters into the dirt there, and that will let SSR close back in. That's the mistake that he needed to try and go for that 5th spot. Matters going to pinch SSR inside. Coco's going to take advantage, though, and try to get both of them here. Matter tripped on the outside. Coco very nearly turns him. Drag race for 5th, and SSR is gone. Coco under braking closes in, but Matter gets into him in the apex and holds up the 7's ideal line. Now the 19 tries to cross over. Ooh, CK with that massive lunge, and he'll overtake both of them and lose it in the very next corner. Or he might not. Matter slow on getting the accelerator down. He'll fall behind now. So Coco now up into the points-paying positions by stage end. It is now his chance to try and run down SSR. But CK, the Flying Scot, is still hanging out behind him. As Coco takes a much, much wider line. Dives into turn 20. Matter to the inside of CK. Throws it up in there. The Flying Scot's run a little bit wide. Matter has the nose ahead and takes the position for the moment. CK now doing a crossover on Matter coming out of turn 1, but Matter has the preferred lane of choice behind. Going into the braking zone though, Matter has it. CK might be a little bit faster and he'll want it for sure. Through the S's. SSR makes a mistake and now Coco's closing in on him. That's Prius Killer in 8th, as he has gotten away from the fight he was with Apex Blade earlier. Prius had been in the lead for a moment until he got dumped by your current race leader. He is one of the other drivers trying to basically recover. Coco Gamer has almost caught SSR ahead. Exeba is close within 5 seconds of the second place driver, but does not seem to quite yet be at a level where he can overtake and actively fight the two race leaders. TMS Bum Drop now slips to 10th. As we ride out the back of SSR, as he watches Coca try to close in on him right now. Coming out of 15, he's right there. And if these two fight for long enough, it will bring TFB Matter and the Flying Scot in 6th and 7th into the fray. You can just see right there the radically different lines that both SSR and Coca Gamer took coming out of 19. Lock up from Matter, and SSR has missed the corner, but Coca not close enough to really capitalize. A third left in the tank for SSR. Now with 2.5 laps left in this stint, in this stage, it should be possible for him to go to the end. Second place is losing touch with the leader, and third place is closing on second. So that will be a battle to watch in the next few laps. Bum Drop now gets by Apex Blade for 9th, farther back. But real quickly, we look at the entire field as they are right now. Your race leader, TMS Stingray, has absolutely burned his tires down, but he's still going. He has a little less than a quarter left in the tank. Second place, TMS Derp, who is losing touch with him, is doing a little bit better on fuel, 3% more, and better on tires as well, so he is not burning that car up as much. Exebot in third is recovering from an early lap dump, first lap, first corner dump. Much better rears, but much worse fronts, 24% fuel. Fourth place, this is SSR, 28% fuel, even better. Fifth place, Coca Gamer. He is running with 26% fuel, so not quite as good. TFB Matter in the 6th position. He is running with 29% fuel in the best fuel window of everyone near the front right now. 7th place, CK the Flying Scot. He is running with 24% fuel. 8th, Prius Killer. He is running at 26% fuel. 9th, TMS Bum Drop. He is running with 23%. Not looking good for him. Apex Blade, who is running in 10th. He is running with 21%. Very, very bad fuel scenario. And then the drivers who already have made stops today. Wilker Speed is running with 42%. SRD Shredder, who is in 12th, he is running with 50%. 13th, Raygun versus Zombie, who pitted a little bit later than these guys around him. He's at 64%. Dead last, TJ111 right now. He is running with 49% fuel. It's not been a great time for TJ right now. As we watch Exeba as he's trying to close in on TMS Derp at the moment. 2.6 second gap between second and third, and then there's the fight for 4th and 5th as Coco Gamer and SSR scrap it out, drag race down the back straightaway. Into the braking zone. Coca has the inside line, but SSR pinches him down on braking. Misses the apex though, runs wide. That'll compromise his momentum a bit. Coca on the outside carries a little bit more momentum. SSR surges through in the apex, gets the nose of the car ahead. Coca lets him have it for the moment. He was like, okay, cool. You are a little bit more comfortable with the grip of your car through there. I will come back and get that spot back a little bit later. almost at the end of stage 1. Our leaders have crossed, so as they cross the line at the end of the stage, that will determine, the top 5 will determine how many points they get. For Matter, he so badly wants these two up here to crash out or spin out so he can steal a position or two back from them. Xebot's just set the fastest lap of the day. Fight for 4th continues. These machines skipping aggressively over the curbs. Now Coco runs nice and wide. Then cuts back in. In the draft, but he's not close enough to make a dive by the looks of it. I think SSR will have 4th place locked up, assuming he doesn't botch the corner. What the hell? Oh, and TJ has DNF'd. At the front, TMS Stingray has led every single lap, although not without controversy, as he is extending his lead, and he will take home the win of the first stage here very handily. TMS Derp in 2nd will come down and take home 4 points. Xebot in 3rd will take home 3 points himself. And now for the last 2 points of the stage, SSR has it, Coco wants it, but through the last corner, Coco's not close enough to capitalize. So now, once again, fuel becomes the big question. As we look at our 3 leaders, Stingray has burned his tires down. He's at 6% fuel and more than likely will be pitting this lap. For TMS Derp, though, it's a little bit better off. His tires are in a better condition. 9% fuel. 3rd place, Xebot. He is running on fuel levels a little bit closer to your race leader, though. So it will be interesting to see if Derp thinks he can go another lap compared to your current leader at the moment. But we're almost guaranteed that 1st and 3rd will be pitting here. And then you have 4th place, 12% fuel. He's way better on fuel than the drivers ahead of him. 5th place, this is Coco Gamer, slightly better on fuel as well. As we focus on Derp right now, does he pit this lap? I think he's going to probably pit this lap just as a precaution. The gap between 1st and 2nd is extended out to 5.3 seconds as this event has gone on. Matter gets by Flying Scott for 6 once more. And your race leader is staying out, but 2nd and 3rd are coming in. No, Stingray did come in. Okay, never mind. I missed that. So for SSR in 4th place, does he come in or stay out? The answer, SSR stays out for another lap, but he is the only one, as Coco Gamer, who is running behind him, will come in. CK the Flying Scott, who has inherited 6, he's coming in as well. Prius Killer is now in 7th, as he is actually going to stay out. So he's actually going to move up to 3rd position now. 2nd, I'm sorry, he'll move up to 2nd position. Very long pit lane here means that it takes a long time for everything to cycle through. Matter now moves up into 3rd over TMS Stingray in pit lane. Wait, did he not pit? Oh, man, Matter's not pitted yet. Okay, that explains it. So first, second, and third will all be pitting this lap. And this man here, TMS Stingray, will re-inherit the lead. TMS Derp, though, has now fallen behind Xebot. So Xebot charging back towards the front now. Xebot was not able to get ahead of Derp for good at any point last week at Watkins Glen. This week, that is not the case, though. He has completed the overtake on that number 33 Oreo Chevrolet. As the Ford now begins its slow trek towards the front. But as we look at the map here, you can see how far back 6th place is from your race leader at the moment. But again, he's not worried about the race leader. He's worried about this man here, highlighted in blue, that number 4. Stingray 7 seconds up from Xebot at the moment. And we will see the top 3 pitting this lap. They just do not have the fuel to go farther. But this could get very interesting, though. The drivers were able to go 13 laps. Well, a bunch of the drivers were able to go 13. Oh, and there's been an incident. That's 4th place. That's Matter. Matter had an incident and crashed trying to come into the pit lane. And that will compromise Matter's race for good now. But SSR and Prius Killer now in a slightly better position on their fuel. They were able to go a lap further. 14 laps and a bit more. You measure that out. If you're good enough with saving fuel, you might be able to finish the race on only 2 stops on that strategy. Everyone else, we know it's a 3-stop race for them. Several of the drivers near the back of the grid elected to pit early on just to get their first stop out of the way early and hope that yellow flag would bunch the field up. Everyone's so spread out. No, we know that's not going to happen. This is the fight for 4th. SSR and Coca Gamer. Ooh, Coca really sideways there. And that's Ludicrous Speed, who, by virtue of already making his first stop relatively early on, he has now caught up into this fight here. But also will have to pit sooner rather than later for his second stop. As we look at his fuel, 9%, so he'll likely be pitting this lap. But on pace right now, he is best of everyone who committed early to a 3-stop strategy. Car bouncing under braking there as he's trying to pull up to CK the Flying Scot. Looking around the outside, these set of corners so slow, so flat that honestly both lanes are good, valuable options if you're smart enough with it. Side by side as now they come into the 16, 17, 18 complex, but CK has the inside line and that will give him the track position he wants entering 16, 17, 18. Ludacris takes a tighter 17 and 18, looks on the outside, going into 19, can't keep it together. They both run wide. CK has the position. Ludacris will be pitting now. And this will drop him back down the order. Again, of the drivers who committed to the 3-stop strategy early on, Ludacris is in that position. Everyone else still could make it on 2 stops if there is enough laps of yellow. But this man here, TMS Stingray, has such a large gap over the rest of the field. 7 seconds over 2nd place alone. It's looking like it will be impossible to pass him unless there is a massive strategy failure. And the fight for 4th, SSR versus Coca Gamer, continues. Prius Killer in 6th. He's done a respectable job recovering from getting dumped out of the lead earlier. Up into 6th right now, and if this keeps up, he might be able to throw his hat into the ring for earning points at the end of Stage 2, which will be lap 25. Still the most active fight on the circuit right now. Though I guess I say that, there is this battle going on for 10th and 11th. TMS Bum Drop over Raygun versus Zombie. As we see now, several of the other drivers who made their first stop earlier coming in for their second pit stop of the day. That's SRD Shredder coming in. TMS Bum Drop closing in on Apex Blade, slowly but surely. Raygun, who was up near the front early on, has completely fallen off the pace, sadly, all the way back to 10th. Contact between 4th and 5th. Side by side in the S's. SSR has the inside line. Coca can accelerate out better. He comes in the next corner with the inside. They both run each other very wide. SSR over the curbs. Coca's... will he give him the position back? No, he won't. But SSR now has a better exit out of the curbs. Side by side. Still, Coca very wide. Now on the run down into the hairpin. Coca has the position. SSR gets right behind that number 7. And now he will have the draft off of that number 7 Ford down the straight. And Prius Killer is now only about a second and a half off of this fight. These two just cannot seem to get away from each other. Does SSR dive into braking? The answer, no. But he does get into the back of the 7 twice. Runs him wide on exit. Coca Gamer defends the inside. SSR says, fine, I'll just run behind you for now. He's looking for Coca to have a mistake, have a hiccup. Coming through 15 here, so he can dive. Doesn't look like it will happen. Coca will make 15. SSR now stuck behind the number 7, has to figure out a way by him instead of staying ahead of him. Prius Killer, just a second and a half out from this fight. Ooh, Coca really sideways there through 17. Runs wide in 18. SSR steams back up right behind him in 19. Both cars run wide. Coca takes a much, much more aggressive lane, though. Holds the spot for now. Better exit for SSR. Dragon versus Zombie, short pitting on this stint. So he is already committed to a 3-stop strategy. Got the draft once more. Does he make a dive bomb into the braking zone? The answer? Not this time. But just like last time, he's staying right behind. The 7, looking to see if there will be a mistake they can capitalize on. Coca takes a lot more of the available track than SSR does, and because of that, Coca's fastest laps are honestly slower than SSR's, but also means that now that he's ahead of him, it's way harder for that number 54 Interstate battery Toyota, to get alongside, because there's just not as much track really available for him, even when he's got a good run. And Coca went through the grass that time, so that's not going to be something the officials will want to see very often. "21 seconds almost between third and fourth at the moment. So the race is pretty much settled down right now. Not yet halfway through the event. Flying Scott in 7th, trying to make something happen to Prius Killer, who is in 6th right now. As we look real quickly on the map, getting a better idea as to where everyone is on the track. No one a lap down yet. Though at the rate it's going, there is a risk that Raygun versus Zombie might go a lap down by race's end. Zebot now within 5.4 seconds of the leader, but we're almost halfway through this race, and he's just not closing at the pace he wants. Zebot's going to be absolutely aggravated at losing out on what could have been for a second week in a row, losing out on what maybe, in his mind, should have been another race victory after getting dumped on lap 1, turn 1, and going right to the back because of it. In a game of tenths of seconds right now, Zebot's only gaining by hundredths of seconds, honestly. CK really bad entry into coming into 5 there. And these two are in a position that if that fight for 4th and 5th turns nasty, these drivers could back their way into some stage points. Into stage is at the end of lap 25, so we're still about 4 laps out from that. But it is something to consider. Coca Gamer in 4th is just not pulling away from SSR whatsoever. His forward momentum has stalled out at this point of the race, it seems. And this 4-car fight, or really just 2 pairs of fighting, is really the only battling going on. Now we know that SSR and Prius Killer both have about an extra lap on fuel against these drivers they're running with. Now I don't know if that will transfer into the second stage though, because again, first stint, you have to run technically an extra half lap because of the pace lap. under pace lap speed, you use basically half of a racing lap's worth of fuel. So it will be interesting to see if those two drivers are still able to go another extra lap or not. Because if they can go an extra lap a second time, that will put them in better condition going forward, potentially. Again, to stop to the end is possible, not guaranteed, but possible, for both SSR and Prius Killer at the moment. Seems like this battle is now starting to break up a bit as well. Well, as I say that, Coca has a slow run coming out of the S's. Does not run as wide as he has been most of the time, and SSR now back within 100 feet under braking. So the fight's not over yet. From the helicopter or drone cam, you can see Coca's a lot more aggressive under braking than SSR is. Ooh, big off by SSR. Totally missed 19 there. Now let Coca actually pull away a bit. And then Coca follows up afterwards by missing turn 20. That's just kind of been the way it's gone. It's been a bit of back and forth between the 4th and 5th place drivers. But Prius has closed in just a bit on SSR. We're about 3 laps from the end of this stage. %50 fuel for SSR. For Coca, who is just ahead of him, though, is a lot worse off, 42%. So an 8% difference. As we look real quickly once more at our top 3. 37% for Stingray, 2nd place. Xebot, 36%. 3rd place, TMS Derp, 39%. So Derp continues to be in a slightly better fuel scenario than your 2 leaders. He honestly could have gone a lap further earlier on, but he chose not to. So and he has basically given up he doesn't have quite the track position or the pace. He has the endurance, but he's kind of traded it in just to play it safe. And I think he's probably saying, well, look, I'm fast enough. There's no way that anyone from 4th on back catches me. The gap between 3rd and 4th is still hanging out at about 20 seconds. Derp says, hey, I'll just walk home 3rd. I know I can't actively fight the 2 leaders. I'll just run silently in 3rd. Again, 36% for Derp at the line. Coca is going to be at almost the exact same amount, 36%, when he comes across the line. SSR, who's fighting with Prius Killer now, when he crosses the line, is going to be 44%. So Coca opening the gap finally on SSR. Actually, he is slowly taking the lead that Derp has over him away, but still a 20-second lead, and with about 20 laps to go, Coca would need to close at a rate of a second a lap. Coca's a little bit faster, but he does not seem to be quite that fast. Flying Scott still there in 7th. As we're right on board with him. And that's Raygun versus Zombie, who has now dropped out of the race. Prius getting really aggressive on SSR, looking inside, outside, but not really able or willing to commit to any certain move at the moment, it would appear. Alright, and coming to the party right now is Raygun versus Zombie. Raygun, go ahead, include your audio. Decent start to the race, but it seems like everything just kind of unraveled as it went on. What happened that took you out, though?
Just a major headache just took me out, and also the tune does not go really well with this track, honestly. And plus with the track limit rules, it's just very little improvements you can go here and there with the track, but yeah. It's just one of those road courses I don't really have a fitting on.
That's interesting, considering that you won in the Busch race here in the first season of the development series, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Alright, well, the real question then becomes, do you think you can rebound then next week?
Possibly. I have good history with Laguna, but I'm not sure if these cars I could get probably a top 5, but I'll probably get like top 10, hopefully, but you never know.
Alright, well, do you want to say thanks for being willing to jump in and talk with us? It was great to see you running near the front early on. Just kind of a shame you couldn't keep it together.
Yeah.
Alright, so we now turn our focus back onto the racetrack. Prius Killer running behind SSR, but at the front, this is where everything comes into importance, because this is it, the end of this lap, award stage points. First place, once again, TMS Stingray will go back-to-back stage wins. Second place, Xebot. So he has gone from 3rd to 2nd, so good job on his part, as he's trying still to close down on the lead. 3rd place, TMS Derp, who has completely lost touch with the top 2 at this point. And now 4th place, currently Coco Gamer. SSR has fallen off a bit. Coming out of turn 20, Coco Gamer will take home 2 stage points, finishing 4th. SSR trying to hold off Prius Killer. It'll be a drag race, but at the line, who's it going to be? SSR, but just barely for the last stage point. And now Prius commits to the inside, runs SSR wide, and Prius now officially takes that spot from him. I'm sure Prius is kicking himself because that move just came slightly late enough that he was not able to actually get that point over SSR. Xebot, just a bit over 5 seconds out from Stingray. Continues to he's closing on the leader, but he is not closing at a pace that I think there's any serious chance for him to take that win. The real question right now that both stages have ended, and it's just the run to the end, how does everyone's fuel look like? The leader, Stingray, 14% fuel at the moment. He'll likely be pitting next lap. Second place, Xebot, 13% fuel. Again, will likely be pitting next lap. Third place, TMS Derp. A little bit better off on fuel mileage right now, 18. He could probably stretch it 2 laps if needed. Fourth place, Coca Gamer. His fuel numbers are closer to what the 2 leaders currently have right now, and now he has to hold off Prius Killer rather than SSR at this point. And Prius Killer, he went a lap later, earlier in the event. As you see, Coca comes out of 19, 16% fuel. Prius gets right behind Coca, runs him offline! Neck and neck. Coca gets the spot back still. Prius, though, at 22% fuel. Now, if everyone who committed to a 3-stop early, well, it's gone all sideways for him because the only ones left in that group is SRD Shredder and Ludicrous Speed in 11th and 12th, 16 seconds off of 10th place. Granted, everyone ahead will still have an extra stop compared to these two, except for maybe 2 drivers, but they are so far off pace, it's not looking very good for them right now. And Prius Killer's actually gotten by Coca. Oh wow, and here comes SSR, 3 wide misses! And SSR takes them all, but loses it in the following corner. Coca has the preferred line of choice in the following corner. CTK is there. Can he sneak by? Prius gets in the side of Coca Gamer, knocks him sideways. Silly. Here comes SSR with a run. Prius gets run way offline. CK takes that spot from him. So this 4-car fight is the most active one going on thus far. Who pits in this group this lap, and who waits another lap to do it? SSR closing in on Coca Gamer, under braking. Prius launches to the outside of CK. Takes an alternate line, but runs wide on exit as well. Struggles putting the power down. Can't make it stick. Xebot pitting out second now, and he's pitting earlier than your 2 leaders. And the front 4 stay out for another lap. Oh, Prius gets into Scott, knocks him sideways. Drag race for 6 now, and Prius will give the spot back. He says, hey, look, man, that wasn't cool. I realize that. This is going to get interesting because SSR and Coca Gamer are still fighting as they come up to Xebot, one of the pole sitter, one of the race leaders. How hard does Coca fight with Xebot? Falls right in line behind the pole sitter. Coca, will he send down on Xebot? The answer, no. Not able to yet. But if Xebot makes a mistake, Coca will likely launch to try and put him in between himself and SSR. But this is the lap that Coca will have to be pitting, and his push lap basically is being hindered by this. Xebot now starting to stretch just a bit on Coca. Just Coca not able to keep pace with Xebot. The top 3 have been basically in a zone of their own all day. Stingray, your race leader, in pit lane right now. CTK and Prius Killer still fighting it out behind for 6th and 7th. Oh, Xebot really sideways coming out of 15. Xebot not pulling from this group at the rate that he wanted. Stingray still in pit lane. Derp has not yet come into the pits. In fact, Derp will stay out for another lap. Coca comes in now. But SSR, unsurprisingly, stays out. Derp now inherits the race lead from Stingray. Prius Killer also stays out. CTK comes in. Apex Blade comes in. We're likely going to see, yep, Bum Drop comes in. We'll likely see Matter come in as well. So now, SSR, he knows that he can stay out for another lap before coming in. Zbot can see second place right now on the track. Second place Stingray, who has been dominating this race. But Xebot is starting to close a bit on him more now than before. Gap between Xebot and Stingray now down to 3.1 seconds. Derp stayed out for one extra lap and will likely fall back to third once he pits, because 4th and 5th place will have to be paying this lap as well. Stingray already on the back of Derp, though. Christ, didn't take him any time to catch up to that 33. Goes around the outside. Derp doesn't even try to throw a defense up. SSR currently leading Prius on track for 4th. These two drivers hoping, praying that maybe they can make some magic work. Make it on just this remaining stop. As we look at their telemetry right now, 5% fuel left for SSR. He's not going to make it. Prius Killer, same for him. 4% fuel for him. 2%, I'm sorry, it's even worse than I thought. So with that in mind, unless there's some yellow flags, this is it. Race over. We now know who wins. It's going to be either Stingray or Xebot. The question is just, can Xebot close down this remaining 3.1 seconds over the final 14 laps of this race? For all intents and purposes, the gaps have now spread out enough that until we see Coca and CK, the Flying Scott, come up to these guys, we kind of know where everyone's going to finish, I think. Matter now coming, he's pitting farther back. Matter was in a better position, but missed the pit lane on his first attempt, and now, although he could still theoretically make it on just 2 stops, realistically, he has lost so much time on track it doesn't matter. Coca will blitz by both SSR and Prius Killer. So Coca Gamer, with that extra lap coming in, he'll stay out and take point. We are 14 laps from race end. The question now, can SSR and Prius Killer make it to the end on the fuel they have or not? If they do, they will likely take the position from Coca. Not likely to take the position from Derp, though, because Derp now seems to be on their same strategy. But Derp is also 37 seconds out from the leaders, and although we know 1st and 2nd will have to pit again before race end, we also know that they are so far ahead of everyone else, it doesn't matter. For Coca, he is 4th, might, no guarantee, but might have a shot at stealing 3rd from TMS Derp. It's a 3-second gap right now. CK, the Flying Scott, kind of the spanner in the works between this fight between SSR and Prius Killer, but he's a little bit farther back than he wants to be. The other fight, the fight for the race win, is Xebot versus TMS Stingray. 3.1 second, about 3.2 seconds between them. Xebot's done a good job closing on in-laps and out-laps, and we know these two drivers will have to pit one more time before race end. 13 laps to go now. Most of the other battles on the field have basically evaporated at this point in the race. Shredder and Ludacris have filed out 8th and 9th, but they have yet to make their final... Well, I say that Shredder's making his final stop now. Ludicrous Speed will likely make his final stop now as well. Yep, and this will drop him right back to the rear of the grid. Fight for 5th continues. Not really a whole lot to say at this moment. We're just watching the clock tick by. Prius sliding way wide through there. Most of the fights in the grid have pretty much evaporated at this point in the event. This here is the closest thing resembling a fight between SSR and Prius, but for a moment SSR has about a little more than 3/4 of a second lead over Prius. Coca Gamer has pretty much lost touch with TMS Derp, and it looks like Derp is going to walk into a third automatically simply because of the fact that he'll likely go to the end without needing another stop. It'll be close for him, but it does not look like he'll need another stop. In the fight for a lead, Z-Bots cut it down to 2.3 seconds with 11 to go. 2.2 seconds, well, 2.1 seconds, Xebot to Stingray. So the gap is closing. Is it closing fast enough is the question. And again, the top two will have to make one more stop before race end. 59% fuel left for Xebot. For leader Stingray, 66% fuel. Xebot did pit a lap earlier than Stingray this time around. And then third place Derp, who is more than a pit stop distance away from them. 73% fuel. We are anticipating he will go to the end without issue. For Derp, his fight's mainly with Coca Gamer, because if Derp does have to pit again, it brings Coca into the fray to maybe steal that spot from him if Coca strings together some really good laps. Also of note, Apex Blade has kind of found a little bit of pace, and he is closing slowly on CTK, the Flying Scot. Or CK, the Flying Scot, so. Closer to the front. It's gotten a little bit closer now. 1.8 seconds between first and second. Can Xebot come back from a lap 1, turn 1 dump to take home the win? In-laps and out-laps for their final fuel stop will be the biggest factor into this fight. Honestly, I'm shocked that neither of these drivers have made their final stop yet. If there's a yellow flag, pit lane is automatically closed, and these drivers would be massively, massively disfavored by such a change. Go silent for a lap and ride for a full lap on board with Xebot here. See what he can do. Xebot laying off extremely early, going down the straight. Could it be possible that he is trying to save fuel? It's a full lap on board with our second place driver right now. using about 6% of fuel a lap. We know Xebot will probably have to pit a lap earlier than Stingray, but both of them will have to pit before race end. Gap opened up just a bit to about a second there. Xebot's there, ready to capitalize if Stingray makes a big mistake, but that's the thing, Stingray's not really put any feet raw on today. There is still this interesting battle here, as Apex Blade has actually gotten by the Flying Scott. We missed this, sadly, while focusing on the lead group, but Apex Blade now moved up to 7th. So I do want to say good job on his part. Xebot with the draft down the back straightaway now. Gap's fluctuating a lot, and it seems to fluctuate a little bit more in Stingray's favor as this race goes on. We're at 7 laps to go right now. When do these two make their final stop? 37% left in the tank for Xebot. For Stingray, 44%. In-laps and outlets have the in-lap outlap pit phase have been one of the areas where Xebot's been closing the most on Stingray. Roughly a 1 second even gap between Stingray and Xebot at the moment. Radically different lines by first and second. Coming out of 19 that time. Xebot actually closes down to 7 tenths. 8 tenths. Farther back, SSR has closed in slowly but surely back on Coco Gamer, and Prius Killer is not too far behind him either, so this fight could still be worth watching. But the one to really focus on is this here, second and first. Six laps to go at the moment. And again, we know these two have to make one more stop. 40 seconds ahead of third place. So we know that these two are the only two really fighting for the race win right now. Xebot continues to let off very early on, going down the back straightaway, and still seems to be slightly faster than your race leader. I have to wonder if Xebot's just holding back. He wants to wait until the last lap or two to really make a move on Stingray. Counterpoint to that, though, is by doing so, you run a higher risk of an instant happening to you and then not being able to close the gap. I'd rather, at least me personally, I'd rather make the move as soon as possible and just try to build a lead than, you know, hold back and wait. There's really not a whole lot of advantage in holding back and waiting at the moment. %26 left in the tank. Will be about 25 at the line. If they're able to make it exactly 5% each lap to the end, Xebot might snipe the win off from Stingray. The question, though, I guess, is Stingray laying off in a similar manner? Stingray actually has more fuel than Xebot right now. But again, Stingray waited an extra lap, and maybe Stingray's also been holding back to try and ensure that he doesn't have to pit. If Stingray is in a position that he doesn't have to pit, this could go well for him. Stingray is also laying off very early. So for Stingray, I think Stingray is actually going to win this, because while Xebot may be faster, Xebot has to hit a much, much stricter fuel number right now than Stingray does. And that might be one of the reasons why Xebot has gradually been falling off. So fuel mileage to the end, but Stingray needs to play this smart. The Xebot's now fading as the demands for fuel consumption are beginning to get to him in ways that he does not want to deal with. 26% for your leader. For second place is at 19%. So for Xebot, I hate to say he's going to have to pit in the next lap or two. There's no way around it. Ooh, bad run through the S's there. Yeah, Xebot's now fading. So despite charging through the grid, strategy calls in these races basically get dictated by the race leader. And the race leader has said, hey, you're going to have to now work on an element you've not been good at, conservation, to try and match me. I think for Xebot, the best thing he can do is get into the pits now and just go hard. He knows that the win's out of his grasp now. Stingray took the lead. Lap 1 after dumping Prius Killer out of the way in the S's. No one's been able to really challenge him on track. And now we finally get someone who can challenge him. Xebot really does not matter, because Xebot now has to hit such a strict fuel number, there's no way for him to make it to the end. And he is fading off out of the lead fast. The gap is now extended to 2 seconds. And for Stingray, he can just continue to pitter-patter around the circuit at slow speed. Doesn't have to worry about anything. They still have a massive gap over third place. 36 seconds over third place at that. Coming to the line for Stingray. 19% at the line. It's still iffy if Stingray is going to make it, though. But Xebot, trying to match him, is not able to. Xebot has totally fallen off the back now. Gap between first and second has massively extended all the way up to 4 seconds now. For Xebot, I hate to say it, but I think Ray's winning chance is over for him. Stingray has him beat on pure fuel. The best thing Xebot can hope to do is come into the pits now and just beans it and hope that at the same time Stingray totally runs out or still has to pit on the coming to the white flag. Because otherwise it's over. So now the question becomes, what about the fight for fourth? Coca Gamer in fourth position. When it comes to fuel, 15% left. The driver right behind him, SSR, a little bit better off, 23% left. SSR can go hard to the end. Well, at least we're anticipating he can go hard to the end. Coca may have to conserve, and SSR might back his way into a fourth place finish. Sixth place is Prius Killer right now. He might pick up fifth if Coca has to pit. So last week it was fuel to the end of the stages that were the wild card. This week it's fuel to the end of the race that's the wild card. Gap between first and second is now opened up to 7 seconds. Will Xebot pit this lap? He has to pit this lap. There's no way you can make 11% work like this. Nope, he's staying out. He's committing. And with that in mind, Stingray has now by default won because Stingray has almost a full extra lap of fuel in his tank. Xebot somehow will have to use less than 5% of the fuel in that car. I'm sorry, like 4% of fuel in that car in these remaining laps. For your race leader Stingray, though, it's a little bit better for him. 13%, he can use about 6% fuel. Not ideal, but he's way better off than second place is right now, and the gap between first and second continues to expand. Third place, it is worth knowing third place. He should be good. He is at 13% as he comes to the line. He's in a similar position to second. Fourth place, Coca Gamer. As it is now 2 laps to go, so no more yellows. Coca has to struggle with fuel to the end. SSR, no worry about fuel for him. 17%. And I think SSR is going to walk out of here in finishing fourth. As we look at the map one more time, you can see Xebot 12 seconds off of Stingray. The race is over for him. For now, Xebot just needs to try and bring it home in second. SSR and Prius both really sliding coming out of the S's. But I think they both know what Coco's fuel situation is. So they're not too terribly concerned. White flag this time by. For your race leader, how much fuel does he have? The answer, 7% at the line. He should be good. For second place, Xebot, who has elected to stay out one more lap. His fuel not looking nearly as good. 5%, almost 4% at the line. It'll be close. Third place, TMS Derp. How does it look for him? 7% fuel left. It's going to be touch and go for him. He is closing on Xebot, but it's going to be touch and go. For 4th place Coca Gamer, 3% fuel. I think Coca Gamer is going to run out on this last lap. He is at 2% fuel as he is coming to the start-finish line right now. When does Coca run out of fuel? Because whenever Coca runs out of fuel, we can kind of gauge from that if Xebot's going to run out or not. %1 left for Coca Gamer. Final lap of the race, and for Coca, it does not look like it will be complete. %0. He's on fumes. So he's going to run out here in Sector 2. This will promote SSR into 4th and will promote Prius into 5th. Coca's going to be totally out of fuel going down the back straightaway here. That's it. He's out. And you see them go by now. So will Coca make it to the end? And now the question becomes, what about our race leader? Stingray leading right now into the final corner. 2% left. Stingray will make it out of the final corner. TMS Stingray will take home a lead, a win, flag to flag, pretty much leading every lap and leading every stage for the victory. Xebot, will he make it? The answer, oh, it's going to be close. 1% fuel left. Xebot will be on fumes across the line. He's out, but he's got the momentum. He will coast to a 2nd place finish. What about 3rd place TMS Dirt? 1% left. It's going to be the same thing for him. It will be coasting to the line. He's out. Or on fumes right now. Just trying to keep enough momentum so he can make it to the line. Yes, he will. TMS Dirt will come home 3rd. This is 4th place. The battle for 4th to the end. SSR will barely hold off Prius Killer, and they will finish 4th and 5th. Apex Blade has moved up into 6th. He is out of fuel as well, though. He'll be coasting to the line. 7th, CK the Flying Scot. A little bit better off on fuel. He'll be good. 8th place, TMS Bum Drop. 1% fuel, and behind him is Matter. Is TMS out? He's not out. He'll be coasting, but he'll make it. Matter in 9th. 10th will be SRD Shredder. 11th, Coca Gamer, after running near the front. He's actually getting a push from behind by ludicrous speed. And that's some good sportsmanship. But your race winner is TMS Stingray. Just trying to get our various top finishers into the party real quickly to hear what they have to say about their run today. Where's SSR? I can't seem to... There he is. Alright, and coming into the party are your various race winners, well, various good finishers today. Starting from the top, it is your race winner, TMS Stingray. Stingray, go ahead. All right, peace out, Coca. Well, Stingray, go ahead, include your audio. Fantastic win there. What do you have to say about your run today?
Oh, mate, honestly, I don't even know where to start. It was such a good race. I mean, the opening was interesting, the first corner. A gap opened for me, and I ended up in 2nd. But a little bit of lag caused a bit of an incident on lap 1 with I can't remember who it was, but yeah, that was the first place, and then it was just about holding it to the end. And I didn't know what strategy Xebot was on, and he was like catching me at rate of knots at some point, and I was so worried he was going to take me, but he ended up running out of fuel near the end and dropping back really fast, so I was able to hold that.
Alright, so really easy victory flag to flag. Anything about the first lap incident in the S's between you and Prius Killer?
It was the lag spike. On my screen, he went through my car and then just spun. I did clip it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that explains it. Alright, well, either way, fantastic victory, mate. Considering that you weren't really able to fight for the win at all last week, this has got to be a great rebound. So now the question becomes, can you carry this performance forward in the season?
I hope so, yeah. I think we've got a good package, and hopefully I can carry this momentum on.
Alright, well, man, a few words, but, every word is valuable at least. I do want to say thanks for being willing to jump in and talk with us. Now I want to go ahead. Our second place finisher, Xebot, has still not joined the party. I don't know if he's not willing or able. I'm going to invite him one last time, but if he's not able, so be it. I do want to go ahead and talk with TMS Derp. Derp, third place finish, but you're kind of in no man's land most of that race. Not fast enough to keep pace with the leaders, not slow enough to really be in position to lose, to have to hold off anyone. So what was your race like, basically?
Basically what you said, really boring for me for the most part. I tried a risky fuel strategy, being I had the gap from me to fourth. It ended up letting me run that extra lap, and I was hoping the leaders would run out of fuel, but they didn't, or at least not fast enough, so I'll just take third.
Alright, well, a win last week, coming home third here. I'm just going to say, championship hopes? How are you feeling now?
Don't know yet, because I am going to be missing a few races due to unfortunate circumstances, but we'll see after that.
Alright, well, I do want to say, podium finish is still pretty good. Good job on you, mate.
Thank you.
Alright, I want to talk to our second place finisher, Xebot360. Xebot, make sure your audio's included. Pole position, couldn't even lead out of the first lap. That seemed to put you behind the 8 ball. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Yeah, quite an interesting one. Wasn't quite expected to get put off at turn 1, but I knew that was a mistake, so it's all good. And then, yeah, just recovering from there. Thought I had it, because I was catching the lead quite quickly until the end. And then, yeah, screwed up fuel strategy. Somehow saved it at the end, but yeah, tough one, but glad to get the second.
Alright, so second, podium finish last week, but not able to really win. Not able to fight for the win here either. Not led a single lap, despite the fact that you've been one of the fastest drivers in the first 2 road courses. Come on, third time's a charm. Do you think you can turn it around next week?
I mean, I'm not one for stats, but I got a third last week, second this week. Who knows?
Alright, well, either way, Xeba, I will say this. It was very interesting watching you very slowly and steadily just chop the gap between you and the leader down. Shame that in the end you kind of had to give it all back up. But second is still second. It still would bring home some hardware, so good job on you, mate.
Yeah, cheers for that.
Alright, want to talk to our fourth place finisher, SSR. Right from the get-go, you committed to a 2-stop strategy. That ended up being a great strategy, bringing you home in 4th position. But you had a lot of fighting throughout the race to go through. Despite that, walk us through the race from your perspective.
Yeah. People were saying how that Toyota was getting so much good fuel mileage. I was like, I don't know, but every battle I felt like people were always running into each other, so I was just sort of there, and luckily strategy came into how I wanted it to come out.
Well, 4th place, but you spent a lot of time fighting with the likes of Coco Gamer, fighting with Prius Killer, who's on the same strat as you, fighting with CK the Flying Scott for a bit there. I mean, that was honestly probably the highlight of the middle section of the race, just the 4 of you all duking it out for a position there. I saw several times you were going 3 wide in the S's. It was nuts.
Yeah, I was not expecting to send it 3 wide on the outside, but just happened to go out that way.
All right. Well, either way, fourth place finish, mate. Great run. Got some stage points as well. So I don't know if you're gonna try and make this a full season fight. Do you think you have a outside chance maybe at the title?
We'll see. Um, I'd have to see how points ended up tonight and who all makes it the rest of the season.
All right. Well, I do want to say, though, irregardless, congratulations on a fourth place finish. Very well deserved and well earned today. One more person who did jump into the party. I wasn't going to invite him, but I am a little curious. SRD Shredder. Shredder, you're a title contender. You're someone that a lot of people had some expectations for. Nowhere today. Came home ninth. What happened that totally took you out of contention for anything today?
I mean, this track in itself, like previous years running, I've had a noticeable downtrend in pace here. Well, I tend to have not really much. Like in qualifying, got last, but even if it was clean, I would have still put me about like 10th, 11th, something around about like that. And then there was that little scuffle at the start with everyone. Now I did have a pitch strat that I thought was quite good, sort of like pitting early, get the 3 in, and then I can just beans it to the end. But I didn't count on absolutely everyone going on the fuel save and getting it at the end. Because I was right at the end, like the I was expecting the top bunch to come in, and then they could get probably like a 7th or 6th or whatever, and no one came into the pits, which is what really, like, I don't know, shocked me. Because everyone came in earlier than the pit stop schedule would say anyway. And so yeah, I tried to run down Matt after the thing, and coming against him. Luckily, I got 1 place ahead with Coca retiring, but that was about it really.
Yeah. Well, irregardless, only a 9th. Do you think you can turn things around before you get too much deeper into the season and everything spirals out of your control?
Sonoma's the Sonoma's the next race coming up, and that's also one I'm 50-50 at doing. Really depends on like everyone else's pace at Sonoma. Like if I can do like just about okay, everyone's also just about okay, I'm having a shot there. But if everyone's got like I don't know, consistent good place and planted, then it could be another one where I'm at the back.
All right. Well, in that case, I do want to say, at least you're able to finish, unlike Coca, who sadly he was not able to talk with us, but he did run out of fuel on that last lap, as you saw. You were able to finish, at least bring home 9th. That's better than some people who didn't even show up or didn't even make it to the end. So good job on that part, at least. All right, and that will pretty much wrap up our broadcast here from Circuit of the Americas. Next week is Sonoma, also known as Infineon.
Not next week.
Sure, tune
week
in.
After next week.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Oh, you're right. Next week is a week off. Actually, it's the week after next week is the next event. I encourage you guys to jump in then, but take next weekend off. Just enjoy the fact that you don't have to tune in. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all later. Until then, farewell.